Hello agents, in this video I'm going to show you some Dark Hours raid builds. We came up with a method last week, me and Penny bashed our heads together and we thought how can we complete this raid and sell it to the community really to show you guys how to do this raid the easiest possible. And this is what we came up with. We came up with 4 builds. There's a generalized raid build which is Unbreakable again. Like before TU8 I did a video saying this is the raid build and Unbreakable build. Everyone should make this. If you make this build and have 8 of these you can complete the raid. That's still the same with this. We're going to show you first the Unbreakable build, which we're calling the generalized raid build, and if you had 8 of these you should be able to complete the raid with it. However, there's 3 other builds that make it much easier, so I'm going to show you those 3 builds as well. So if you've got a team of 8 and you're watching this video, you're going to want 5 people running the Unbreakable build, which I'll show you first. We then got a Tardigrade build, we've got a tank build, and we've got a crit sniper build. I'm going to show you all 4 of these builds in this video. Now if you're not a team of 8 and you're watching this video, you're a solo player, there's only a couple of you, and you're wondering how, the hardest part about this raid really is getting the 8 people together. They're going to be committed enough to grind and get it done. So if you're one of those players, don't worry, we've got a fantastic gaming community. After watching this video, you'll know what builds you need to use. You can start working on this Unbreakable build. Join our community. We have raid teams on Xbox, PS4 and PC, and we're helping people all of the time. We help people with first time completions, we help people with eagle bearers. We've helped well over 1,000 people now with the first time completions too, and hundreds and hundreds of eagle bearers have been given away. So if you don't have that team, join a community, just work on this Unbreakable build that I show you first, and we will get you in. You just need a bit of patience. Now the footage on screen is from last night's Patreon stream that we did, the private Patreon stream. It's the first time we tried this method. I wanted to get this done before I released this video, and we did it in 35 minutes first try. I believe this method will get you a time, once you're really comfortable, between 20 and 30 minutes. So it's not a speedrun method at all, but it is a very comfortable method, and that's what we're going to go into. I'm going to show you what builds you need to make this comfortable. We'll start with the Unbreakable build and we'll move on to the other 3. But before we do that, if you do like this video, do give it a like, hit subscribe for more content from myself. I've got a lot of the Division 2 content on the channel. Check it out, hit subscribe and don't miss any future content. And as I said, after you've watched this video, check out my video description. There will be a link at the top to our fantastic community, but also this isn't a raid guide. I'm only showing you builds here. We're not going to be talking about the raid. So if you want more information on the raid, if you don't know it and you don't know the mechanics, there's a link to my full-on written guide in the description as well. I tell you how to complete each boss, I tell you all the mechanics, and we give you videos as well of the mechanics to give you a visual too. So if you want more information on the raid itself, do check out that link too. So as I said, the first build we're going to show you is the generalized raid build, which is the Unbreakable build. Thanks Tash for letting me record this. I've got one myself, but Tash's is so optimized. She's using an AR here. It's kind of up to you what weapons you use. We do advise ARs over SMGs because you'll be a bit of distance, try and keep distance from enemies. I advise like the ACR, the G36, the Police M4. They kind of have good damage drop off, so they're good at distance, and they're really good to use. This isn't the best AR. Tash never had a great one. You'd want either Killer as the talent there, or you would want Strain. This is a crit hit build, so those 2 talents will be much better than Sadist that you've got there. And obviously it's got good rolls on there. You've got damage to target out of cover, you've got assault rifle damage. They are probably the best 2 attributes you'd want on your AR. The secondary that we advise you to use on this build is the Baker's Dozen. You could also use the Bullet King or another LMG. This is basically going to be for the weak spots on Razorback and maybe Buddy and Lucy as well. So the sustained fire from an LMG would be great, but the Baker's Dozen also does well on the weak spots of Razorback. So as you can see there, you get perfect lucky shot as well. It's just a good rifle to use. It's great to have in your secondary slot. It is really up to you though how you do run this primary and secondary. It's more about how comfortable you are with weapons and what you prefer to use. You need to be comfortable with this build and you need to be comfortable going into the raid. The pistol holds no value to the build whatsoever. I always run with a Mozambique and put a spotlight on it. So the most important part is the gear pieces, and you're going to want 3-piece Providence or 2-piece Providence and 1 Grupo. The reason for that is with 3-piece Providence you can see you get the crit hit chance and crit hit damage there for the 2nd and 3rd. It's quite important to the build, but if you drop off at the 3rd Providence and go for a Grupo, you'll also get that crit hit damage as well. That's what Tash has done on this. She runs a Providence mask, you got weapon damage rolled, you got crit hit damage rolled, and you got crit hit chance rolled there with a crit hit damage mod. The chest piece that we have here is the Fenris chest piece, and the only reason it's Fenris is because we're using an AR, so you get the assault rifle damage there. Now if you are going to use an LMG, you already have a Petrov piece on this build, so you go a Cheska chest. If you're going to use an SMG, which I don't advise, but you go a Sokolov chest. If you're going to use a rifle, you've already got a rifle build piece on this build, so again you go Cheska. Just tailor the chest to whatever your main weapon is. So in this case it's an AR, we go Fenris. The rolls there, you got weapon damage, you got crit hit chance, you got crit hit damage mod. The blue there is okay. I'd probably say get crit hit damage there as well. That'd be the better roll. You'd want crit hit chance and crit hit damage. We're going to talk a bit more about your chance and damage soon. No, you don't want to stack too much chance on the build. We'll get to that in a minute. The talent, which is very important obviously for an Unbreakable build, is Unbreakable. Moving on to the holster there, we got the Grupo holster as I mentioned earlier. This could have been a Providence instead. It gives you the 15% crit hit damage for the third piece Providence or for the one piece Grupo. It's got weapon damage on there, it's got crit hit damage on there, and you can see it's got crit hit chance on there as well. On the backpack, we have a Providence backpack here. It's got weapon damage, it has crit hit chance and a crit hit damage mod. Instead of hazard protection, we would want crit hit damage there instead, and the talent there is composure, so you gain 15% extra damage when you're in cover. Another good talent here would be vigilance, where you get 25% extra damage at all times. However, you do take a hit, you lose that 25% damage for 4 seconds, and you are going to be taking hits, so I do advise composure myself, but it is up to you. For the gloves, you want the Contractor's Petrov gloves. These are the name gloves, and the reason for that is that 11% damage to armor there. That is so OP, so you want these. Get a good weapon damage roll on this, get a good crit hit chance or crit hit damage roll on this, and you are laughing. You can see it gives you LMG damage as the Petrov one piece talent. However, you know, if you're not using an LMG, that damage to armor is so OP, it does not matter if you're wasting that LMG roll there. And then finally on the knee pads, you're going to want the Fox's Prayer Overlord knee pads. This will give you rifle damage. Again, if you're not using rifles on the build, I've advised you to. If you're not, you're wasting a talent there maybe, but just look at that damage to targets out of cover at 15%. This is going to stack with the specialization as well, which we'll go on to in a moment. Have weapon damage there, crit hit chance or crit hit damage as well, and that piece is absolutely vital to this build. Moving on to your skills, what you are going to want to run is a Revive Hive and a Defender Drone. It's up to you here. I think the Revive Hive is crucial to get yourself up or teammates up. The Defender Drone will deflect shots. It's quite handy. But I do want to talk about your crit hit chance. I mentioned a few minutes ago we'll talk about this. With how we run, what you're going to want to do in your 8-man team is you're going to want to have 3 Coyote masks somewhere across your 8 team. You're going to have one on the crit sniper build, so that's one covered, but 2 other people are going to want to run it, and it's just because of how OP the mask is. You're going to generate crit hit chance and damage for the whole team all of the time, and with the sniper you're always going to get those 25+ meter shots to get 25% crit hit chance, and there'll always be someone shooting within the range to get the 10% crit hit chance and damage. So these stack on top of each other. We noticed that 3 was stacked a lot of the time. So if this build is just for the raid, get it about 30% crit hit chance, because that sniper will get those 25+ meter shots. You're going to be having 35% crit hit chance added, which will cap you out even if you're at 30%, if you understand what I'm saying. It allows you to then put everything else into crit hit damage and to hit harder. If you run this build outside of the raid as well, you want, like Tash does, you do want to have it a little bit higher, because you can't rely on that sniper always being with you to get the 25 meter plus shots, which means you do want it around 40% plus, because you're just going to be relying on the extra 10% maybe most of the time. Just wanted to explain that. And then finally, the specialization, you want to use the grenade launcher, and we're going to show you exactly why now. So with the knee pads that I've shown you, you are getting 15% damage to targets out of cover. With the grenade launcher specialization, add 5% to that. You're now getting 20% damage to targets out of cover. So that's really good. That's one good thing about the specialization. There's another one coming. I'm not even sure if it stacks. If we have 6 of these on a raid team, it might stack, and we haven't tested it. So instead of 20%, you could be having an extra another 25%. I think that excuse my math, but it could take you up to like 45% damage to targets out of cover. I'm not sure if that's a thing though, but even if it's not and you only get the 20%, that's absolutely fine, because just go over to the right here and you'll get this perk as well. What this perk does here on screen, it ignores explosives. It can happen once every 60 seconds. On Razorback, the most difficult part is after the weak spots where the rocket comes, because it's 2 rockets and it can take a lot of people out. If you have this ready, if the first rocket ain't going to cause no damage to you whatsoever, which means you can get out of the way the second one, or you'll survive it. It's very OP and it's highly recommended to run. So we're now moving on to the second build, and it's my crit sniper build. This is my build I'm showing you on screen now, and I run the Paratrooper SVD as my sniper, and I like lucky shot. I just go pow 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 all the time, so if I miss a shot when I'm in cover, I'm getting that shot back. So in effect, I won't run out of my magazine or need to reload until I've hit all my shots. I love that talent. I got marksman rifle damage, damage to targets out of cover on there, and headshot damage. There's Optimist you could use as a talent instead, or Boomerang. You might prefer a different talent for your sniper, and that's up to you and your playstyle. I'd say go with whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not sure though, I really do highly rate lucky shot, but just because of the reasons I said. The secondary, I'm running the Baker's Dozen. Again, the same with the Unbreakable build I've shown you, is because it's great for the weak spots. I'll switch between the two really, and if I do run out of ammo on my SVD, this is a good alternative for me, so I run that. And again, it's got perfect lucky shot on there, so you know how that works. And I've got rifle damage, crit hit damage, and crit hit chance on there as well. This is a crit hit build again, so they're pretty decent rolls. And again, the sidearm holds no value to the build. Run whatever you want here. I run the Mozambique. The mask that I run on my crit sniper build is the Coyote mask. We just discussed this on the Unbreakable build. In this raid team, you're going to want 3 of these, and definitely put it on the crit sniper. It just makes sense because you're going to be the one procking that third talent there, the 25 meter plus. You give your team 25% extra critical hit chance. So that's important to have on this build. The other 2 Coyote masks you'll want to put across 2 of the Unbreakable builds. So you take out the Providence or the Grupo mask, you'd throw one of these on. Yeah, the build will initially lose a bit of creative damage or chance, but you're going to gain so much by having this on. Just make sure you have 3 of these in your team of 8. You can see my rolls there on it. I've got weapon damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and I've thrown a crit hit damage mod on there as well. My chest piece is a Roldy. It's a sniper build. You're going to want this. It gives you 10% marksman rifle damage, and you want Overwatch. This is a team-based build. With Overwatch, and when I'm in cover for so long, it's about 10 seconds, I think it says there, it gives 12% weapon damage and skill damage to your whole squad. That is so good to have. You'll be always in cover, giving your team that extra damage. I have weapon damage rolled. I have crit hit chance, crit hit damage rolled there with a crit hit damage mod. You'll definitely want Overwatch on this build. Next up is the holster, and you'll want to run an Aces and 8s holster. You need 2 Aces pieces on the build to give you the 15% marksman rifle damage. You're not going to take any advantage of the other than that from the Aces and 8s, so you only want the 2. And you're going to want weapon damage and crit hit damage rolled onto this. And for the backpack, it's another team-based talent. I wouldn't have Cheska now. I do want to change this. I want it to go Grupo to get the crit hit damage instead of the chance. But for now, this is fine. It's still viable. It gives me chance. The most important part of this is opportunistic, though, because anything I hit with a sniper rifle with my SVD, the whole team's going to gain an extra 10% weapon damage per person to that target. So it's really good. It's a great talent to have on the support build. I got weapon damage rolled on it as well. I got crit hit damage, crit hit chance. It comes with a blue mod slot, so I've thrown on armor on kill there. With the Grupo, I think it comes with a utility mod slot, so it'll be very hard to get the most god rolled a piece with opportunistic on it and all the rolls you want to roll out the utility to a firearms mod if you can, because that's ideally what you'd want to get more crit hit damage on the build. But either way, if your piece looks like this, it is doing the job and it's going to do you great. For the gloves, you'll use your second Aces and 8s piece, to get that 15% marksman rifle damage. And I got weapon damage rolled there with crit hit damage. And finally, for the knee pads, we again run the Fox's Prayer Overlord knee pads, the same ones as what will be on the Unbreakable build. You got weapon damage rolled, you get rifle damage from the piece as well, you get damage to targets out of cover of 15%, that's going to stack with the Demolitionist, and I got crit hit damage rolled there as well. And then for your skills, I run a booster hive. This was Penny's advice, and it's very good advice. So I won't run a revive hive. I'll have to stay up. I've got my teammates to get me up if I need to. But when we do weak spots, I'll plant this down. I'll also plant it down beforehand if I want extra damage. And I know it ain't a skill build, but it does give you a few seconds of extra damage for anyone inside that booster. So this is very good for the weak spots on Razorback, because you're causing extra damage. You can get the weak spots gone quicker. So I'll run that booster for that. The Defender drone, the same reason as the Unbreakable build. It's just going to deflect bullets. It's quite handy to have out if you're going to be running out of cover for a little bit. And then with the specialization, as with the Unbreakable build, we're running a grenade launcher for the same reasons. Damage to out of cover 5% for the whole group, and you can withstand the grenade once every minute, which is fantastic for the Razorback rockets. Just a quick look again at the crit hit chance, crit hit damage there. You can see I've got mine lower there at just a little over 30%, and that is because with the Coyote mask, I'll be hitting over 25 meters quite regular to get the 25% chance, and then someone will be getting the other proc for the 10% chance, which caps me out. So that's kind of where you want to aim, using your mods on your weapons or whatever. You do want stability on your Paratrooper SVD. I know I don't go into mods in these videos because I think that's personal preference, but I put some stability mods on and crit hit chance mods on, or I'll put crit hit damage mods on. Just use your mods and some of your rolls on your gear to get your crit hit chance and crit hit damage around about this. And once you've got enough crit hit chance, as I said earlier with the Unbreakable, you can stack everything into crit hit damage. We're now moving on to the third build of this raid technique, and it is the Tardigrade build. It's very similar to the Unbreakable build, and this is Penny's as well, so thank you Penny for sharing this with us. Penny uses a Police M4 assault rifle. You got assault rifle damage there, health damage, rate of fire. She has the talent strained on there, which is great for a crit hit build. You could also have killer if you prefer that, but strained or killer with an AR is perfect for this build. The secondary weapon on this build is the Baker's Dozen. Exactly the same reason for the previous two builds there. You got rifle damage on this, crit hit damage, damage to target out of cover, real good rolls there, and you get perfect lucky shot with it. Again, I'll repeat it in case you're using timestamps. We use this for weak spots on Razorback. You could also use an LMG if you want, like the Bullet King. Penny doesn't have one because she keeps giving it away to the likes of me and Tash. But yeah, a Bullet King would also be viable. And like with the other builds in this video, the pistol is personal choice. Penny, like me, uses the Mozambique. It has no reference to the build. Moving on to the gear pieces, the mask on this build is a Grupo mask, and with this, Penny's rolled weapon damage on there. You're getting the crit hit damage for the One Piece Grupo as well. There's crit hit damage rolled, and there's a crit hit damage mod there. Penny hasn't actually rolled this piece, we noticed while I was recording. The health there, Penny would take out and put crit hit chance in maybe. She'd have a look at a crit hit chance first though, as we've explained on the previous build, to see where it's at with the Coyote masks. You could use a different roll there if you don't need any more crit hit chance, or should max out the crit hit damage. The chest piece on this build would be the Tardigrade exotic chest piece. Gets a max armor of 170k rolled there. There's explosive resistance, armor regeneration, and Penny's throwing a protection from elites mod on there as well. The reason you want this chest piece is for the talent, because if any one of your team members loses their armor, they're going to get 80% of your armor back as bonus armor. This can be done once every 45 seconds, and it's for each team member. So I could proc my armor. So I could proc this by losing my armor, but then another team member could also lose theirs and proc it as well. What Penny can also do, she uses the grenade launcher specialization for reasons we discussed before, but also it's dead easy to get a kill if she wants to get this proc back sooner for people. She can get a kill with the grenade launcher, and this will be reset, and you don't need to wait for the cooldown. It's very good and a key part of the build in making the survivability just that extra bit more to make this raid a lot more easier for you guys. It's a key build, and it's a key piece. But from this, moving on to the holster, we've got the Fenris holster here, and the reason for that is the assault rifle damage, because we're using an assault rifle. As explained in the Unbreakable build, if you're not using an assault rifle, you're using LMG or whatever, tailor this piece to whatever weapon you're using, but do be mindful you've got the Petrov gloves and the Overlord knee pads anyway, so you could go Cheska here, say if you're using LMG or rifle as your main weapon. The rolls there is weapon damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage. The backpack you're going to want to use is the Cheska Perfect Clutch backpack, and the reason for this is because you don't have Unbreakable, you're using the Tardigrade chest, so it's just to give yourself some more survivability. Look at those rolls on this backpack as well, fair play. We've got weapon damage maxed out, crit hit chance, crit hit damage maxed out. That's a superb backpack there. Throw an incoming repairs mod on there. It does come with the blue mod slot, and the reason for that is because this will work with the clutch. It'll give you more incoming repairs from your Perfect Clutch, and how that works is if you're below 20% armor, critical hits will repair 25% missing armor, and also kills allow you to repair up to 100% of your armor for up to 4 to 10 seconds based on your red core attributes. So we've got to say firearms core attributes. You only have one core attribute at blue, so that's going to be around about 8 seconds that you're going to be able to repair up to 100%, which is absolutely fine. So this is exactly how you want your backpack to look like if you can get it. And the next two pieces are exactly the same as the Unbreakable build for exactly the same reasons. We've got the Petrov Contractor's Gloves here for the damage to armor for 11%. You can see that crit hit damage is rolled on that as well. Weapon damage would like to be higher. The reason Penny said that weapon damage ain't rolled to max here is because she had like a skill attribute she had to roll out, and she wanted to create damage on the build as well. So it's still a very good piece. Weapon damage could be higher. The LMG damage is being wasted because there's no LMG on the build. However, as I said with the Unbreakable build, that damage to armor at 11% is just too good to miss out on. And as I just said, the knee pads are the same as the Unbreakable build. It's the Fox's Prayer knee pads for the same reasons again. The 15% damage to targets out of cover. That's such a good roll. You've got rifle damage on there as well, which you'll be using with your Baker's Dozen. And there's crit hit chance rolled there too. So exactly what I said earlier with the crit hit chance, crit hit damage. Have a look at those stats. Use your weapon mods and some of the gear rolls to get your crit hit chance where you want it to be, taking into account that you're going to have the coyote masks in this technique. So do roll the crit hit chance lower, as it will be going up with the coyote masks. But yeah, that's the last piece that you use there. And as I said earlier about the grenade launcher specialization, Penny will also use the grenade launcher specialization here because it'll give you an extra 5% damage to targets out of cover to make that 20%, but also you'll be able to survive a grenade attack at once every 60 seconds, which makes the Razorback rockets very easy to cope with. And lastly, skills. Penny will run a revive high for obvious reasons, but you're going to want to use the jammer pulse on this build. You're going to be the person that focuses the drones when the drones come out on Razorback. Everybody shoots a few anyway, so maybe not use this to start off with, but when the second wave of drones come, Penny's going to hit this, and it's just going to make the drones a little bit more easier to handle. If you're still struggling with drones, throw this jammer pulse onto another one of your 8 builds and have 2 of them. And finally, but certainly not least, we have the tank build. This is Mark's tank build. There is a different way of doing this, which we'll discuss, but let's start with the primary weapon. Mark uses the tactical MK16. You've got assault rifle damage there, health damage, rate of fire on that, and you've got close and personal. You're going to be running a shield with this build, so close and personal is perfect on this because killing a target within 7 meters grants 30% weapon damage for 10 seconds. The secondary that Mark uses is the Grudge SMG. This is a real good weapon because of the perfect vindictive there. It's got SMG damage maxed out, crit hit chance on it, magazine size. But what perfect vindictive does is killing an enemy with a status effect within 20 meters applies basically 18% crit hit chance and 18% crit hit damage to all your allies for 20 seconds. So this kind of works in line with the coyote mask as well, and you're just giving your team more and more damage. As you're using the shield build and you're up close, what Mark will do is switch to this on any low health enemies just to finish them off to get that procced. And as with all the other builds in this video, the pistol holds no value to it whatsoever, and like with me and Penny, Mark will run the Mozambique. And moving on to the gear pieces, we'll start with the mask. We have 4-piece True Patriot on this because this is how we build the tank build. And the mask there, you can see what True Patriot does. 2 pieces is ammo capacity, 3 pieces is magazine size, and 4 pieces is red, white, and blue. You get 3 buffs, and you'll basically put 3 different statuses onto an enemy. The red will amplify the enemy's damage taken by 8% from the team. The white Doesn't work at the minute. This is glitched, but if you get an enemy with the white proc, and if you're shooting that enemy, you should be giving your whole team bonus armor. Doesn't work. Only Mark gets advantage of this bonus armor at the minute, but they'll fix it in the future. And the blue decreases the enemy's damage dealt by 8%. Full flag, enemies that die under the status effect of all 3 debuffs create a 5-meter explosion, dealing damage equal to their total health. So that's quite good for crowd control. Just with the shield, be careful if you're getting close to enemies with this, because this explosion will also damage your shield. Now with the mask here, you can see the rolls there. It's pretty much max armor, hazard protection, and protection from elites. Hazard protection is good for this build. You could also go explosive resistance if you'd rather go with that. And then moving on to the backpack, this is where you can change the build up a bit if you want. Mark said you could use Protector talent on a brand set backpack, and you could then go with the True Patriot holster instead. Protector basically, I think as you're taking damage from the shield, while enemies are causing damage to your shield, it's going to be giving all your teammates bonus armor. So that is quite good, but how Mark runs this is with the backpack here. You get the extra talent there, which increases the red and white and blue basically debuff strength, so you're going to be causing extra damage, taking less damage, and getting more heals from the team when that eventually works. You can do this either way. This is the way Mark said he's going though, because it enables him to get shield health on the holsters, you'll see in a minute. You can see armor regeneration is on there again. He would change it out for hazard protection or explosive resistance if he could. He's got protection from elites mod on there, and the armor is pretty much maxed out. The gloves, again, we're just going to skip all that. You already know it's got max armor on there. You want as much armor on this build as possible basically, and you've got a hazard protection roll there as well. Again, you could have explosive resistance if you prefer. And then the final True Patriot piece is the knee pads here. Again, we're going to have a high roll of armor if we can on this, and you're going to have explosive resistance rolled onto it or hazard protection. And an absolute key piece to this build is the chest piece. It's the Gilligard Perfect Vanguard chest piece. You've got armor rolled on there. You could have that a bit higher. Hazard protection and explosive resistance on this. And Mark has thrown a protection from elites mod on there. But what Perfect Vanguard does, deploying a shield makes it invulnerable for 5 seconds, but also grants 50% of your armor as bonus armor to all other allies for 20 seconds. And the cooldown's 25 seconds. During Razorback or other parts of the raid, you could destroy your shield and then deploy it at key times, like weak spots on Razorback, or if you've noticed a few of your teammates are running out of meds or they're low on armor. This is so key to this tank build, and it adds so much survivability to your team. And finally, the holster here, which we touched on a moment ago, it comes with 10% shield health. It's the Forge, Richter and Kaiser holster. You get that shield health on there for your shield and get hazard protection or explosive resistance there as well, and that's great. What you want to do is roll skill tier on this though, and I'll explain this in a moment when we look at the skills. You'll notice that everything else was armor, but there's a reason why you want skill tier here. What this also comes with is 15% incoming repairs on the first talent there for the Richter and Kaiser piece. So with the skills, you're going to want to run a Revive Hive for obvious reasons, but then the Ballistic Shield. This is what you are going to want to run. It's very important with the specialization you use as well. You're going to use the Firewell. We'll get onto that in a minute. But the Ballistic Shield, you can see what it does there. Basically, it's just a tank build. You're going to be able to face tank everything with this. You won't go down. You have a lot of survivability. And it works great with the Firewell. We'll show you something on that in a second. I just want to explain why you rolled that skill tier onto your holster as well. So notice the skill tiers there. All those armor core values are added to the skill tier. That's how it works. If you have the armor roll on the holster though, it wouldn't take you to tier 6 for some reason. Not sure why. I don't know why it works like that with all these other pieces. I don't really understand it, but for whatever reason with the True Patriot and that Gilligard chest, the armor rolls gives you skill tiers, and if you roll the skill tier on your holster as well, you get tier 6, which gives you the active regeneration there, the shield health, the holstered regeneration, and the buff strength. And on screen now you can just see the Firewall specialization, and what you want on is this perk here, the Striker passive talent. What this is going to enable to use the weapons that Mark uses on his shield, but also the Firewall specialization. With the mods as well, it comes with some mods. We'll have a look at what mods Mark puts on his shield now. And you can see them on screen. You got some shield health, active regeneration, and then for the third mod there, you got damage bonus 4%. So that's the entire tank build there as well. I just want to say again, thanks to Mark for sharing this. Again, thanks to Penny and Tash for sharing their builds with me also. And that's the end of the video, guys. I just want to conclude what I'm advising you to do here in your 8-man team is to have 5 Unbreakable builds, 1 Tardigrade, 1 tank, and then you want the 1 crit hit sniper as well. It makes the raid so much survivability. It makes it so easy to do. We did it first attempt with this technique in 35 minutes. It's only going to get better as we progress. On the Weasel room, what I haven't mentioned, what you'll want to do if you can is have 8 SVD builds. It makes Weasel very easy. But even with all these builds I've mentioned, throwing SVD on a baker's dozen and Weasel's room is very easy as well. But we're not discussing techniques of the raid in this, to be fair. If you want to see the guide, is in the video description, so check that out. If you are only like one person or a couple of people and you want help with this, do check out our community. It's linked in the video description, so after this go check that out. We've got raid teams on PS4, PC and Xbox. We've helped over 1,000 people now with first time completions. We've dropped hundreds of eagle bearers. It's the place to be if you want to get through this Dark Hours raid. It's a fantastic community, non-toxic. You're going to love it, so come and check us out. But that is the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, help me hit 20,000 subscribers in 2020. Really appreciate it. Check out the channel and see what you think. But until the next video, we'll see you in the community when you get there. Peace out.